great north news to the Rockbound coast and streaming live in HD worldwide at foxbangor.com. More people choose Good Morning Maine.
Hello, everyone. Today on Good Morning Maine, the search will resume today for a missing paddleboarder on Graham Lake in Ellsworth. We'll have the latest. We'll also hear about the decision to fire Lincoln's new town manager, and we'll celebrate the backbone of our healthcare system during National Nurses Week. We'll have those stories and much more coming up. Good morning, everyone. I'm Craig Colson. Janessa Bishop has the day off. We thank you for joining us. We'll have those stories and a lot more coming up, and we'll meet our pet of the week. But first, a check of that forecast. Some folks seeing a little bit of rain this morning, but overall, it looks like a partly cloudy day ahead today. May even see a little bit of sunshine out there and a few stray showers. Overall, not a bad day. Let's start things off by turning it over to Devin Biggs for a first look at our forecast.
All righty, Craig, thank you very much. Happy Thursday. Your first weather forecast brought to you by Quality Automotive and Brewer. Experience a Quality Automotive difference. Reliable service and expert care that you can depend on. Call us to schedule your next appointment. 922-2043. Alrighty, here we go. We have an advisory posted. This small craft advisory will remain up until about 2 p.m. as we head towards the afternoon period for some active surf that will remain an issue until about that time frame. In the meantime, on land, we've had some rain overnight, and this will mainly last through the morning period, but some more scattered rain showers will be possible this afternoon. Otherwise, we will remain under a partly cloudy sky. Let's zoom things out right now, and we are still seeing some rain showers across parts of the northeast with this cold front. Some scattered rain showers again possible this afternoon under that partly cloudy sky. So here we are. The clouds break up for a bit. Some more this afternoon with some scattered rain showers. We clear out tonight under that mostly clear sky. Tomorrow, just some clouds to start things off, but nothing too widespread. But otherwise, as we do move forward for today, again, some clouds, scattered rain showers for the afternoon period with temperatures rising into the low 60s. Your full 5-day forecast is coming up. Craig?
Overall, not a bad day at all. Thank you, Devin. We'll see you later on with your full forecast. A search continues for a missing paddleboarder in Ellsworth. The Maine Warden Service has been searching for a missing 20-year-old man on Graham Lake since Tuesday afternoon. Officials say the man was suspected to have left his family's camp near Jesse's Beach on a paddleboard sometime between 10 and 11:30 on Tuesday morning. And it's not believed that he was wearing a life jacket. Ellsworth Police, Fire and Rescue initially responded to the area, searching the lake by watercraft and a drone. Game wardens have joined the search using boats, a Warden Service plane, and a Maine Forest Service helicopter. We've been told by wardens at the scene that the man has not been found so far, but his paddleboard and paddle have been located. Sergeant Mark Delia of the Maine Warden Service says it's been challenging due to the weather and lake conditions.
There's a lot of strainers, which are, trees that blow down over the water that can obstruct our visibility of things on the shoreline. But we have enough hands that can help. We have both dive teams, so the Maine Warden Service dive team and the State Police and Marine Patrol have a joint dive team. So both those boats are out here, and that's very helpful for a search like this.
The dive teams are also utilizing side-scan sonar and a submersible ROV, which Sergeant Delia says is a critical asset in the search. Some civilians also took to the lake with their own boats to provide assistance. The search was expected to resume sometime this morning. Meanwhile, a Knox woman is facing arson and attempted murder charges after allegedly setting a house on fire where she had been temporarily staying. 41-year-old Jessica Alsop is being charged with 2 counts of criminal attempt to commit murder, arson, and violation of conditions of release. According to the Department of Public Safety, dispatchers received a 911 call on Monday from an individual at a residence on Bailey Road in Knox, reporting a fire in the home. Officials say occupants of the home were able to suppress the fire using an extinguisher and water prior to the arrival of fire crews. It was contained to a single bedroom. The occupants and several dogs also managed to escape without injury. The fire marshal's office was notified due to the suspicious circumstances, and following an investigation, it was determined that the fire had been intentionally set. Alsop was taken into custody and transported to the Waldo County Jail, where she's now being held without bail. A St. Albans woman was arrested for allegedly assaulting her husband and setting their home on fire. 61-year-old Lisa Hall of St. Albans has been charged with arson and domestic violence assault stemming from a fire that happened last month. According to the Department of Public Safety, on the morning of April 17th, fire marshal investigators were called to a residence on Grant Road due to the suspicious nature of that incident. Investigators determined that the fire had been intentionally set and an arrest warrant was issued for Hall. That same morning, prior to the fire, it is alleged that Hall also assaulted her husband. She was arrested on Tuesday after being located in Bangor and was taken to the Penobscot County Jail, where she's being held on $10,000 cash bail. A Clifton man is facing drug charges following a bail check that led to a significant drug seizure. According to the Penobscot County Sheriff's Office, yesterday deputies conducted a bail compliance check on 30-year-old Brandon McCann of Clifton. And during that check, deputies discovered approximately 16 grams of crack cocaine, 17 grams of methamphetamine, and 26 pressed methamphetamine pills. They were all located in McCann's possession. He is now in custody and was taken into custody without incident and has been charged with 2 counts of unlawful trafficking of scheduled drugs as well as violation of conditional release. McCann is currently being held pending further court proceedings, and the case remains under investigation. A former employee at Jackson Laboratory in Bar Harbor is suing the lab for what she says was a failure to properly address sexual harassment. That lawsuit was filed in U.S. District Court in Portland this week. According to the lawsuit, a former female employee worked at the lab from May 2023 until her separation on July 9, 2025. The suit claims a male coworker identified as Brandon Lyons allegedly began sexually harassing her in the summer of 2024, making lewd comments about her body and physical appearance, as well as other inappropriate comments and behavior. The suit says she reported the behavior to multiple supervisors nearly a dozen times, including written complaints, but it was never addressed, despite the suit alleging one of the supervisors observed the behavior themselves. The suit says the lab never investigated the comments or took any meaningful action to stop or prevent that behavior. Then, in May of last year, the suit says that Lyons placed a camera in a single-stall bathroom that the female coworker frequently used. Another female employee discovered the camera and alerted Bar Harbor police. It was discovered that the plaintiff had been recorded. She later resigned from her position, citing anxiety and a lack of safety. She's now seeking multiple levels of damages and relief, and Brandon Lyons is currently facing criminal charges in Hancock County. He is not named as a defendant in that lawsuit. For the second time in 6 months, a Penobscot County community is once again without a town manager. After less than 2 months on the job, Lincoln's town council voted Monday to fire its town manager. Our Alex Schley spoke with both sides and has more on what led up to that decision.
In a 4-3 vote Monday, Lincoln Town Council fired town manager Dennis Bolin.
Personally, I don't think he was given enough time to prove himself.
Bolin was appointed to the position on March 10th. Prior to that, he worked for the town of Lincoln for more than a decade.
I started out on the rec crew, the cemeteries and parks landscaping crew. I left there and went to the transfer station. I left the transfer station, went to Public Works, and then was the town manager.
Monday's decision came just 6 days before the end of Bolin's probationary period. Bolin says he believes that the council's decision was a direct response to choices he made that he felt were in the best interest of residents.
There was a request to take on a private road as a town way. We're trying to trim the budget, and taking on more roads is going in the opposite direction. It was a friend of one of the town councilors who was making this request. It didn't go over well.
Bolin also says he did not want to, quote, clean house and fire people.
And I was told by the council that I shouldn't advocate for employees, which I strongly disagree with. Who's going to advocate for them other than me? I'm the top supervisor as town manager, and I certainly am going to advocate for employees or the betterment of employees.
Council Chair Stephen Clay says the budget concerns were a key factor in the decision.
He was looking at it, and this is from our conversations only. He didn't feel like many personnel could be cut. He didn't ever say that he wasn't going to try to cut the budget. He just said he didn't think it could be in personnel.
Clay says the council now hopes to have an interim town manager in place by next Monday's council meeting. In Lincoln, Alex Schley for ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
Governor Janet Mills announced the suspension of her U.S. Senate campaign last Thursday. But as our Doug Banks reports, her campaign has yet to file the paperwork to formally drop out of the race.
On Thursday, Governor Janet Mills publicly announced the suspension of her U.S. Senate campaign, citing a lack of financial resources. On Wednesday, the Secretary of State's office confirmed with us that her campaign has yet to file the proper paperwork to officially withdraw.
Usually, one does go with the other, right? You suspend the campaign, then you submit any required paperwork.
Governor Mills will still be on the ballot for the ranked choice Democratic primary election on June 9th, whether or not the paperwork is filed. Because according to state statute, the announcement of her campaign suspension came less than 70 days before the primary election, too late to take her name off the ballot. If the paperwork is filed before June 9th, the Secretary of State's office will issue notices to local election officials informing voters and absentee voters of her withdrawal, and votes casted for Governor Mills will not be counted. If it isn't filed, the votes count.
Most people will know that Mills has suspended her campaign. Plattner probably still wins on the first ballot, and nothing really comes of this. If enough Mills gets enough votes, and I've seen some reporting out there that some Mills supporters are saying, I can't support Plattner, I'm still going to vote for the governor on primary day. If enough people do that and those votes are counted, then it could force a first round of ranked choice, right? So we could go to second choices on people's ballots, and you would presume at that point that would be enough to push Plattner over the edge. As long as the race stays kind of where it is, I don't see any big implications of this.
Governor Mills did not publicly endorse a specific candidate following the suspension of her campaign, but rather all Democrats on the ballot. We reached out to a Mills campaign spokesperson on Wednesday, but did not receive a response. Doug Banks reporting for ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
And the time now is 8:12. Coming up next on Good Morning Maine, we'll celebrate National Nurses Week, and we'll also visit Bar Harbor, where business owners are hoping for a good tourist season despite rising costs around the nation. But first, a check of that forecast. Today will be a partly cloudy day with a chance of passing rain showers, highs around 61 degrees. Mostly clear tonight with lows dropping down to the mid-30s. Tomorrow, scattered showers, maybe some thunderstorms, highs around 58. We'll be right back.
Blazing Trails, located in Lincoln, is your #1 trusted caregiver storefront. From personalized consultations to the highest quality product, Blazing Trails provides outstanding patient services to Eastern and Central Maine. Discover how we're blazing the trails to quality holistic medicine.
Everyone deserves to be connected. Big cities, small towns, everywhere in between. And staying connected shouldn't break the bank. That's why T-Mobile and US Cellular have joined forces. And now that we've combined networks, T-Mobile covers more places than ever before. America's best network just got bigger. Join now and your plan price is guaranteed for 5 years. T-Mobile and US Cellular, better together.
What's a manometer? Man-eater. Manometer. Let's do this. Help! Send someone. I can't do this anymore. Is it supposed to make that noise?
Definitely not, but we can fix it.
Okay.
Blazing Trails, located in Lincoln, is your #1 trusted caregiver storefront. From personalized consultations to the highest quality product, Blazing Trails provides outstanding patient services to Eastern and Central Maine. Discover how we're blazing the trails to quality holistic medicine.
Think you're good at trivia? Arrange these holidays, these historic firsts, these animals. By the way,
I have no idea.
Congratulations, you have built the perfect line. I'm Deborah Norville, and this is The Perfect Line.
Onion rings before, in between onion rings and pizza.
Definitely after.
This is what happy looks like.
Weekdays at 10 on Fox 22.
According to the American Nurses Association, there are over 5 million nurses all around the country, and this week is about celebrating them. Our Callie Warren has more on the importance of National Nurses Week.
I think this is important to improve, staff morale.
The over 500 nurses and CNAs at St. Joseph's Healthcare spend their workdays caring for their patients. This week, that care and compassion is returned to them.
We celebrate nurses every day at St. Joe's, but this is a special week where we can pause and recognize all of the hard work that they do every day. I'm so proud of this team, and I'm so glad to be in the position to be able to do this for them.
For nurses, the week means food trucks, sweet treats, speaker events, and more. But it also goes a little deeper to celebrate their hard work.
You come in and you really never know what's going to happen. All you know is you're going to try to give the best care that you can.
And help support mental health among nurses.
The mental health of nurses during these unprecedented times is incredibly important. So I'm glad that we're making this a whole week here at the hospital. And I know the leadership here at St. Joe's has worked hard to do a lot of good things for us.
According to the American Nurses Association, almost 2/3 of nurses report work-related burnout.
Nursing is one of the most rewarding and challenging professions.
Nurses can also struggle with stress, mental health conditions, and other well-being issues. So the folks at St. Joe's are stepping in to provide support and encourage nurses to take care of themselves as well, not just this week, but all the time.
I think historically we've believed that our job is to take care of patients, which it is, but to do that to the best of our ability, we need to prioritize care for ourselves because nurses can't care from an empty cup.
In Bangor, Callie Warren, ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
Good news for travelers. Bangor International Airport officials have confirmed that Breeze Airways is launching a new seasonal nonstop service to Raleigh-Durham International Airport in North Carolina, beginning this month. The new route will operate on Wednesdays and Saturdays. The airline will also resume nonstop service to Orlando starting in September. In the meantime, Breeze will still offer service to Orlando with one stopover in Raleigh-Durham. Airport officials say they are excited to add Raleigh-Durham to their growing list of nonstop destinations. Well, businesses are gearing up for a busy summer ahead in vacation land. Despite high gas prices, Bar Harbor business owners say they're staying positive and moving forward with preparations for the busy season ahead. Alexa Kennedy has more.
As Maine's tourist season approaches, businesses in Bar Harbor are preparing for another busy summer while keeping a close eye on rising gas prices and travel trends. Despite the unpredictable summer ahead, business owners remain optimistic that visitors will continue flocking to the popular coastal destination. Director of Operations for Side Street Cafe, Bo Jennings, says staff preparations are already underway.
We get so many questions here in restaurants beyond just what's on the menu. You get where's the best place to hike? Where's the best place to do this or that? And so our staff really do have to become an expert of everything.
Jennings and the owner of the Acadia shop, Bob Pushard, say the activity in the beginning of the season has been heavily weather dependent.
So far this season, April was very soft because the weather was cold and wet.
When the weather is nice, people come out to play. When it's not, sometimes they decide to stay home.
Both Jennings and Pushard shared concerns about how the high gas prices will influence activity in Bar Harbor.
I think what you're going to see is folks that are going to be traveling a little closer to home, so perhaps we get more people from Boston and New York than we would get from the Midwest this year.
Jennings says the high gas prices are an opportunity for locals to take advantage of what Bar Harbor has to offer.
There are things for folks in the region, for our locals and our tourists alike.
Despite concerns over fuel costs and a slow start to spring weather, both business owners look forward to the season ahead.
We're in hopes that the gas prices will not keep people away and folks will get out to enjoy the short summer we have in Maine.
In Bar Harbor, Alexa Kennedy, ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
He's right. Summer is so short, you got to get out and enjoy it. Can't waste time. Speaking of time, it is 8:19. Coming up after the break, the states are taking action to combat rising gas prices as the Trump administration seeks a way to end the hostilities with Iran. Plus, health officials are racing to contain a deadly virus outbreak that happened aboard a cruise ship. We'll tell you the latest coming up on Good Morning Maine.
NASCAR Powerball. The chase to 1 million is on.
Finalists, are you ready?
Don't miss your chance to collect cash prizes on your way to an all-new destination where you could take home $1 million.
Insane! The winner is contestant number 2!
I can't believe it!
The official lottery game of NASCAR is back for the chase.
Purchase your main lottery Powerball tickets with Power Play and Double Play. Enter them into the Reward Me Club today.
Think you know Robert Charles? Think again. While President Trump was crushing the woke left, DC insider Bob Charles was making millions holding lucrative contracts with the woke DEI Never Trump Obama administration. Trump trader, anything for a buck Chuck, can't be trusted.
When you get a little shout out at work, melt into your moment. Irresistibly smooth Lindor.
From me, the Lindt Master Chocolatier.
With over 30 years of experience, Patriot General Contractors knows how to get your home renovation project done right. Our certified contractors can help you build, redesign, or finish the project of your dreams. Check out Facebook page for reviews and visit patriotgeneralcontractors.com to schedule your quote today. Patriot General Contractors, redesigning your properties for the future.
It's mowing season. And Bad Boy Mowers has the best lineup in the game. Built to win with more power, advanced engineering, and performance that never quits. Whether you're playing on this field or this field. So this mowing season, raise your game and join the team. Bad Boy, mow with an attitude.
Turning to the war in Iran, President Trump is claiming new progress in negotiations while gasoline prices keep rising here at home. ABC's Sophie Flay has more.
This morning, more states taking action to address high gas prices. Indiana's governor suspending 2 gas-related taxes to save drivers nearly 60 cents per gallon. Kentucky's governor pushing a similar move and calling on Congress to suspend the federal gas tax.
They thought the war would be short, that the Iranian people would rise up. They were wrong, and now the American people are paying for it.
Prices, which now average $4.56 a gallon nationwide, are exposing the gap between the rich and the working class. A new report finds lower-income Americans have already cut back on their gas consumption, while wealthier households have simply increased their spending to keep their consumption levels steady.
They want to make a deal. We've had very good talks.
President Trump reporting progress in negotiations with Iran. Sources say the administration has sent Iran a 1-page memo of understanding, laying the groundwork for 30 days of talks on issues like the future of Iran's nuclear program. The proposal calls for Iran to lift restrictions on ships in the Strait of Hormuz. In return, the U.S. would ease its blockade of Iran's ports. Iran remains publicly defiant, mocking Trump last night. One negotiator claiming Operation Trust Me Bro failed in reference to Trump suspending his plan to protect ships in the Strait. Sophie Flay, ABC News, New York.
And despite concerns about gasoline prices and supply level impacting consumers for months, President Trump says he's not imposing a deadline for Iran to make a deal. All right, the time now is 8:23. Let's turn things back over to Devin for a full look at that weather forecast.
Alrighty, Craig, thank you very much. Your full weather forecast brought to you by Quality Automotive and Brewer. Experience the Quality Automotive difference. Reliable service and expert care that you can depend on. Call us to schedule your next appointment, 922-2043. Alrighty, here we go. There's that small craft advisory right there, and now will last until about 2 o'clock this afternoon for some active surf along the coast. And with that in mind, let's check out the wave heights, which are at around 3 to 4 feet according to the buoys, while further off towards the north and east you can see that we are still dealing with some active contours at this moment in time, so still a little bit active, while farther out towards sea at around 4 to even 6 feet. So again, hit and miss with regards to the ocean. But meanwhile on land we've had some precipitation passing through from the southwest and going toward the north and east. The rain will back off for a while, still, but some more clouds and even some scattered rain showers will be possible as we head towards the afternoon period today. Let's zoom things out. This is all courtesy of that slow-moving cold front. It has not been moving very quickly, but as we head towards the afternoon period today, it will start to move away, but scattered rain showers for us with a little surface boundary will begin to develop. So here we go. This main cold front moving away, some scattered rain showers possible behind it. Then we clear things out of here overnight with a mostly clear sky. Some clouds trying to get in here as we head towards your Friday, and notice some scattered showers and even some thunderstorms possible through parts of Friday before we clear things out of here as we head towards Friday night. So with regards to the precipitation accumulations, I'm going to run this through at least parts of Saturday evening. Not a whole lot by that point. Then I'll run it just a little bit farther. So really between now and as we head towards your Tuesday, not a whole lot, maybe a quarter of an inch of rainfall. The highest will be along parts of Washington County, and really that's about all. So for today, here we go. Low 60s, partly cloudy, some additional rain showers. Northwest wind at about 5 to 10 miles per hour. By tonight, mostly clear, lows in the mid-30s. Northwest wind at about 5 to 10 miles per hour. And then for tomorrow, scattered showers and yes, even some thunderstorms possible with highs in the upper 50s. West wind at about 5 to 10 miles per hour. And let's check out your extended forecast. Some afternoon rain showers possible Saturday. Otherwise, mostly cloudy with highs in the low 60s. Some more low 60s for Mother's Day with some rain showers. And then rain showers continue Monday with highs in the upper 50s.
From the heart of Maine, where rugged beauty meets timeless craftsmanship, Richard Henderson & Sons Masonry, taming the outdoors through groundwork, retaining walls and seawalls, building custom fireplaces that become the centerpiece of your home, crafting granite steps and patios that invite you outdoors, designing hardscapes that turn yards into living spaces, built to last, crafted for life. Richard Henderson & Sons Masonry, quality in every stone.
Nothing is more comforting than a mother's love, and ABC 7 and Fox 22 want you to share the love of mothers with a special promotion. Register to win prizes from some great local businesses. Our special Mother's Day promotion is brought to you by Stonington's Furniture in Brewer, Bangor Floral, and Healing Strength Massage in Bangor. All you have to do is go to our contest page, foxbangor.com, and register to win.
There's a reason you see Gravely mowers on so many commercial landscaping trailers. Pros don't choose equipment by accident. They choose what holds up. To get the day-in, day-out performance you demand at home, step up to a Gravely. The Gravely Mow Like a Pro sales event is here. Save up to $250 on select Gravely zero-turn mowers. Mow like a pro with Gravely. Visit your local Gravely dealer today.
Only at Glenburn Landscape and Supply Company, where great backyards begin.
Aggravated assault, cocaine possession, endangering a child. These are just some of the crimes committed by illegal immigrants in Maine. President Trump deported all these criminal aliens. As governor, Garrett Mason will fight alongside President Trump, standing tough on illegal immigration, supporting law enforcement, and putting the safety of Maine families first. Garrett Mason will deport dangerous criminals. He'll keep Maine families safe. We have strong leadership in Washington. It's time Maine did.
The cruise ship involved in that deadly virus outbreak is sailing toward Spain's Canary Islands today, while efforts to contain any spread goes global. 3 passengers have died and 5 others became sick with symptoms of the hantavirus, and officials are now monitoring people here in the U.S. as well. ABC's Lionel Moyes reports from New York.
Health officials are racing to contain a deadly hantavirus outbreak as new cases emerge linked to that cruise ship in the Atlantic. KLM Airlines now saying one of the ship's passengers, who later died from the virus, boarded a flight in Johannesburg before crew members decided she was too sick to travel. Dutch health officials are now contacting the passengers who were on that plane. Switzerland has confirmed a new case of the virus in a man who'd previously been on the ship, the first confirmed case in Europe. Here in the U.S., we learned overnight that people in at least 2 states, Arizona and Georgia, are being monitored. So far, no symptoms have been reported. The ship was initially carrying nearly 150 passengers and crew, including 17 Americans, but some were allowed to leave the ship before the full extent of the outbreak was known. One passenger still on board was quoted by a Spanish newspaper saying 23 people disembarked at an earlier stop, adding, until 3 days ago, no one had contacted them. The World Health Organization says contact tracing is now underway.
It's an incubation time of about 1 to 8 weeks. Where the symptoms are developing. It's like flu-like symptoms. You have pain, muscle pain, fever, feeling weak, etc.
The CDC says it will be monitoring the health status and preparing medical support for all of the American passengers on the cruise, adding the risk to the American public is very low. The rare virus is typically spread through exposure to rodents, but this particular strain can spread between humans through close, prolonged contact. The ship is expected to dock in Spain's Canary Islands this weekend, where passengers will undergo health assessments before being sent home. That is, unless their conditions prevent travel. Lionel Moyes, ABC News, New York.
A judge has now unsealed an alleged suicide note from Jeffrey Epstein after questions were raised about his suicide in jail. Meanwhile, a Trump cabinet official has also been questioned about the Epstein files. Andrea Fujii with that story.
We are now getting our first look at the cryptic one-page note purportedly written by late sex offender Jeffrey Epstein before his first suicide attempt in jail. The note reading in part, "They investigated me for a month, found nothing. It is a treat to be able to choose one's time to say goodbye. What you want me to do? Burst out crying? No fun, not worth it." Epstein's former cellmate said he found the note in a book days after Epstein's suicide attempt in 2019. There's no confirmation Epstein wrote it. At the time, he told a psychologist, "I have no interest in killing myself." But less than a month later, he hanged himself in his cell before he could go on trial for sex trafficking.
Please step to the side.
On Capitol Hill yesterday, U.S. Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick testified before a House committee about his ties to Epstein.
Why did you keep in contact with Jeffrey Epstein after he pleaded guilty?
During closed-door testimony, Lutnick acknowledged interacting with Epstein 3 times, including a 2012 visit with his family to Epstein's Island, years after Epstein pleaded guilty to sex crimes. But several Democrats claim Lutnick dodged their questions and demanded he resign.
Howard Lutnick is a pathological liar who is enabling the most egregious cover-up in American history.
He was evasive, nervous, he was dishonest.
But committee chair James Comer insists Lutnick was transparent.
This is a habit of the Democrats on this committee coming out telling you all stuff that was said that was not said.
Republicans say they'll release a transcript of Lutnick's interview at some point. Former Attorney General Pam Bondi is expected to testify about the Epstein files later this month. Andrea Fujii, ABC News, New York.
Mother's Day is right around the corner, and some analysts say this year may see record high spending, even with ongoing economic uncertainty. According to the National Retail Federation, Mother's Day spending is expected to hit $38 billion in 2026, surpassing the previous record of $35.7 billion in 2023. The Federation's annual survey found 84% of adults plan on celebrating Mother's Day this weekend and anticipate spending an average of nearly $285 on gifts, up from nearly $260 last year. While flowers remain the most popular gift, with 75% of shoppers planning to purchase flowers. Other favorites include greeting and gift cards, special outings, and clothing and accessories. Some financial experts say consumers are budgeting more and planning to spend more this Mother's Day, adding that gifting electronics is also seeing a growth in popularity and is expected to account for $4 billion in spending this year. Bottom line, don't forget Mom coming up this weekend. Zachary, did you forget your mom? Did you get your mom something yet? Zachary, the camera guy, he's working on it. He's working on it. And my mom's getting fiddleheads, as she always does. That's what she wants. All right, coming up on the second half of the newscast, we'll meet our Pet of the Week from Bangor Humane Society. That and more straight ahead on Good Morning.
Hi, Rich Robichaud from J&J Auto Salvage. Yep, been here 40 years.
retiring this year, turning the reins over to Anthony and the boys. Hope to serve you for another 40 years. The next time you're thinking about saving money on your car, give us a call. We got fenders, doors, motors, transmissions, you name it, whatever it is, we have it. We're down on the Brewer Lake Road. Everything we sell carries a 90-day warranty. And don't forget, best attitude in the business.
Hard work used to be enough in Maine. You could stern in the summer, plow in the winter, dig clams, and send your kids to college. That's not possible anymore. We didn't stop working hard. The rules changed. I'm running to get money out of politics, pass real term limits, tax the wealthy, not the workers, and guarantee health care as a right, because you shouldn't have to be a billionaire to get a fair deal. I'm Graham Plattner, and I approve this message.
You're watching Fox 22, Bangor.
Welcome back to Good Morning Maine. Today is Thursday, May 7th, 2026, and this is also National Password Day. Are you still using your cat's name for your bank's password, maybe a birth date? Well, sorry, but that's not enough to protect your life savings. This day aims to raise awareness about the need for strong passwords to prevent identity theft and other cyber crimes. The experts say we should be changing our passwords once every few weeks to help protect our personal information. Something to think about on this day. All right, it's time for some history. It was on this day in history back in 1789, the very first inaugural ball was held following the election of George Washington as our nation's first president. However, it didn't become a tradition until James Madison was elected the fourth president of our country. In 1915, a German U-boat sank the British cruise liner RMS Lusitania off the coast of Ireland. Close to 1,200 people were killed, including 128 Americans, and the sinking helped turn American sentiment against Germany, and the U.S. would eventually join the fight during World War I. 1946 on this date, the Tokyo Telecommunications Engineering Company was founded with just 20 employees. It would later be renamed Sony, becoming one of the world's biggest producers of electronics. 1984, 7 chemical companies agreed to pay $180 million to Vietnam veterans who were exposed to the herbicide Agent Orange during the Vietnam War. And in 1994 on this date, Edvard Munch's painting The Scream was found at a hotel in Norway, 3 months after it was stolen from a museum in Oslo. 2 thieves had broken into the National Gallery during the opening day of the Winter Olympics in Lillehammer. In 2004, another version of The Scream was also stolen from the Munch Museum in Oslo and was also later recovered. All right, let's move on to birthdays now. They include comedian Adie Bryant, who is 39. You remember her from Saturday Night Live. Actor James Leisure is 55. And drummer Bill Kreutzmann from the Grateful Dead is 80 years old today. Happy birthday to them and to you also if your birthday is today. And that includes our own chief engineer, Kyle Smith. It is his birthday today. So if you see Kyle today, give him a big old hug. He loves them. Maybe not. All right, let's turn things over to Devin now for another look at that forecast.
All righty, Craig, thank you very much. Happy Thursday. Your first weather forecast brought to you by Quality Automotive and Brewer. Experience a Quality Automotive difference. Reliable service and expert care that you can depend on. Call us to schedule your next appointment, 922-2043. Alrighty, here we go. We have an advisory posted. This small craft advisory will remain up until about 2 p.m. as we head towards the afternoon period for some active surf that will remain an issue until about that time frame. In the meantime, on land, we've had some rain overnight, and this will mainly last through the morning period, but some more scattered rain showers will be possible this afternoon. Otherwise, we will remain under a partly cloudy sky. Let's zoom things out right now, and we are still seeing some rain showers across parts of the Northeast with this cold front. Some scattered rain showers again possible this afternoon under that partly cloudy sky. So here we are. The clouds break up for a bit. Some more this afternoon with some scattered rain showers. We clear out tonight under that mostly clear sky. Tomorrow, just some clouds to start things off, but nothing too widespread. But otherwise, as we do move forward for today, again, some clouds, scattered rain showers for the afternoon period, with temperatures rising into the low 60s. Your full 5-day forecast is coming up. Craig?
Thank you, Devin. And still to come this morning, Jack Webb with all the day's sports news, and we'll meet our pet of the week. Don't go away.
Purple Co is open and here to stay. Come join a growing community of like-minded people with monthly events, arts and concerts, daily deals, and the best products and prices in the state. Plus, don't miss Purple Co Bangor's annual party on 4/18. Now with 4 locations from Portland to Bangor. Come check us out today.
Got old metal and junk cars? Turn that clutter into cash at Daddy and Daughters. We make recycling easy, fast, and fair. From Skowhegan to Dover Foxcroft, from Troy to Lee, you can trust our certified scales and friendly service, offering top prices for junk vehicles in Maine. Whether you drop off or we pick up, Daddy and Daughters covers Central and Eastern Maine. Come see us at one of our 4 locations and watch your scrap pay off. Daddy and Daughters turn scrap into cash.
I was barricaded at the Capitol on January 6th. I saw it firsthand. I'm Jordan Wood. We can't go back to a broken system. I can't stand idly by as Trump rips away health care. ICE is terrorizing our streets, and billionaires buy elections. I spent my career defending democracy from election deniers and fighting corporate PACs. We need to take on Trump, beat Paul LePage, and finally deliver Medicare for all. I'm Jordan Wood. I approve this message.
Every year, communities recognize outstanding service with the Spirit of America Foundation Tribute. Do you know a local person or group that goes above and beyond for others? Nominate them today by contacting a select person, city or town councilor. Help honor those who make a difference where you live. For more information, visit spiritofamerica.website.
Purple Co is open and here to stay. Come join a growing community of like-minded people with monthly events, arts and concerts, daily deals, and the best products and prices in the state. Plus, don't miss Purple Co Bangor's annual party on 4/18. Now with 4 locations from Portland to Bangor. Come check us out today.
I shall now train you in the art of the net gun.
Gotcha. All new Animal Control, tonight on Fox.
Welcome back in, folks. We've got some exciting local news in the hoops world. New Gloucester native and son of legendary Black Bear guard Andy Bedard has followed in his father's footsteps and committed to the University of Maine. Caden Bedard announced his commitment on Instagram Wednesday. The 6'1" guard played his high school ball at a state at Montverde Academy and the Newman School, but was a big part of Cooper and Ace Flag's Maine United team that made noise on the national AAU circuit in the summers of 2022 and 23. Bringing it back local for some high school baseball, the Eagles made the trip out to Bucksport to take on the Golden Bucks. Ellsworth, a perfect 4-0. Golden Bucks 4-1. This game starts on the first at-bat. Evan Haskell gets a base hit, but he is not done. He would steal second base and then third, and on a bad Bucksport pitch, he goes for it all. He steals home, making the game 1-0 Ellsworth early on. In the second inning, the Golden Bucks play great defense. A big hit is caught by Jace Jackson for the out, and then pitcher Trent Goss is going to close the top of the second with this strikeout. Offense gets going for Bucksport when Trent Giroux gets a base knock, but they're unable to even the score. Top of the third, Haskell's going to be back at bat, and he crushes this one. It goes all the way over the left field fence. A single-run homer puts the Eagles up 2-0 in the third. Bucksport makes a run in the bottom of the frame, but Haskell's going to end it with a strikeout, and the Eagles win 5-2 as he did everything for his team today. Staying on the Diamond, the Maine baseball regular season is winding down, and the Black Bears will celebrate their veteran players with Senior Day on Sunday.
The Maine baseball team continues to prosper as they approach the home stretch of the regular season.
The Black Bears traveled to play the first-place Binghamton Bearcats and came back to Orono with 2 wins and a series victory.
We had grinded out some at-bats. We played pretty clean, and my biggest takeaway from this weekend was we saw a team on Friday and Sunday, specifically us, that did the little things really well.
With the end of the season closing in, Maine looks to their next weekend series versus UMass Lowell at home, where they will celebrate their senior day. The Black Bears will commemorate 10 seniors on Sunday, each of whom have played a pivotal leadership role for the team during their time in Orono.
Those guys have an experience of being at both the bottom and the top, and they know what it feels like to be at both, and that matters a lot. Right? That experience, even for me personally, it's important.
That leadership is something Maine seniors take much pride in.
I love being an upperclassman, having the younger guys look up to you. They just you show them how you do stuff, and they really listen.
It means a ton. I'm grateful for the guys that came before me. They kind of paved the way and showed us what it takes to be a leader here. This is some of the hardest baseball conditions in the country, and I think that it's not easy to always be a leader here.
Some seniors just only joined the team 2 years ago. Others have played a full 4 or 5 years, but they cherish being a Black Bear all the same.
I'm just grateful to have the opportunity to play Division I baseball, especially with this group of guys and the locker room we have in there. It's pretty special. It's something I'll remember for the rest of my life.
The chance to be a Black Bear is something that I relish in. I love this school, love this community, love the guys. It's been the best 5 years of my life.
The remainder of the 2026 regular season for Maine will be played at home in Orono, a huge advantage that the Black Bears say they are very excited about.
Oh, we're fired up to be at home. It's tough being on the road. We're on the road for most of the season.
That's a big deal, and just we have some guys nicked up, and give them a chance to sleep in their own bed and eat some food and be able to just kind of get back to full strength, hopefully with a top 2 seed.
In Orono, Max Sturm, ABC 7 and Fox 22 Sports.
Thanks for that, Max. 2-time NBA Executive of the Year and Celtics GM Brad Stevens took to the podium today for his end-of-season press conference. Stevens addressed a slew of questions regarding the Celtics' early exit, Jaylen Brown's recent rumors of unhappiness, Joe Mazzulla's future, and more. Stevens was extremely candid, giving an honest assessment of his team and even saying despite the team's great regular season, they still didn't stack up well against the league's best.
We came up short, and so now the job is to do an honest assessment, and there's no question what we want. There's no question when you look at what's true that though we did a lot of good things, we lost in the first round, and we were also 3-11 against the top 3 seeds in the West and the other top 2 in the East, and so we've got to get better.
For now, that's all the time we have for sports. We'll be right back after the break.
Paramount Paving, Maine's go-to for all your paving and seal coating. Paramount Paving offers commercial and residential paving and seal coating services throughout eastern and central Maine. Give us a call for a free estimate today. Paramount Paving. When it comes to paving, we are Paramount.
Carpets looking tired, stained, or just plain dirty? It's time to call the pros. At CNR Carpet Cleaning, we use deep steam technology to remove dirt, odors, pet hair, and allergens fast. Fresh, clean carpets, healthier home. That's the CNR promise. Visit our Facebook page for a free estimate or call us today, 631-7380. Step into clean with CNR Carpet Cleaning.
Diabetes isn't a death sentence, but it is absolutely a life sentence, and you have to figure out how you're going to keep your kid alive. So when you find somebody from the government that's on your side, and it happens to be Susan Collins at the same time, that was just magnificent. After the meeting in Portland for my wife and son, my wife came back. She was 10 feet tall. She'd felt seen, she felt heard, and she felt like we had a powerful advocate on our side. It was a big step towards healing.
Thank you, Senator Collins.
Please continue delivering for T1 families.
Shelly, it's a space theme. Isn't that fun?
Ooh, you can meet other people from your planet.
I had the biggest crush on John Glenn. I would have given it up for him, no problem. Mima!
Weekdays at 4 on Fox 22.
Paramount Paving, Maine's go-to for all your paving and seal coating. Paramount Paving offers commercial and residential paving and seal coating services throughout eastern and central Maine. Give us a call for a free estimate today. Paramount Paving. When it comes to paving, we are Paramount.
back, everyone. Well, you're looking at a guy who's just in heaven right here. I love little kitties.
It's the best time of the year.
Yeah, Gabby joining us once again from Bangor Humane Society. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you.
And you brought 3 for us. Janessa's off today. You brought 1 for each of us.
I did, but that's okay.
That's okay. You can handle 2.
For sure.
It is kitten season.
It is, believe it or not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so who do we have here?
This is Larry, Curly, and Mo.
Wise guys.
I know. Yeah. They are just returning from foster care, just got neutered. Right. They're ready to go. They'd love to go together or on their own.
Right.
Pretty much anything. They're the first kittens we've had available for adoption in a couple of weeks. We have a ton out in foster care, but just not many that are old enough for adoption yet. So kitten season's definitely coming.
It's underway. So
we're cooking with it.
These guys all ready for a new home now?
They are. They're going to be going up for adoption later this week. That one is Mo. He has an extra toe.
Yeah.
Curly has long hair, and Larry has some short whiskers because he played a little bit too hard.
Oh, I was wondering about that.
Yeah, his brother kind of tumbled into him.
Bit them right off
pulling
or
them
something.
off.
Yeah.
Yep.
They'll do that.
They're good players. They play really hard.
What great little kitties, too. This one's been just kind of chilling out and very calm, and his motor just started going too. He has a very loud purr.
They're really well socialized.
You're
They're
very
great
pretty.
Kittens.
Yeah. Well, hopefully some people out there are looking for some kittens. If they are, boy, we've got the perfect ones for you too. Look at this little guy. He's like the perfect little kitty.
He is good. He's a show kitty.
Yeah. I don't know if you saw it. We had a report on earlier. There's this guy, I think, out west somewhere. He travels the world with his cats.
Oh, fun.
And he trains them. And I guess it's a matter of how much time you spend with them.
Yep.
There's no way my cats would do it.
Mine would kill me.
Yeah, but these guys, I mean, they just sit there and they go surfing with them, all that kind of stuff. So maybe you could start your own adventure and go adopt a kitty and make sure you spend some time with them.
For sure.
Anything else going on over there? I know you guys could always use some help from volunteers, the supplies.
Definitely. We're always accepting donations. Since kitten season is about to really ramp up, we're accepting kitten food, wet food, kitten milk replacement. We just got our first bottle kitten a couple of weeks ago, so we're going through a lot of formula right now. Toys, scratchers, pretty much anything you would need for a kitten, we're accepting right now. Bedding for dogs is really huge. It's really muddy right now, so
well, you think about what you need for your animals and multiply it by 100.
Seriously, yeah.
And you need it.
Yeah,
so.
for sure.
How about volunteers? My daughter volunteered there once for a summer, and summer's coming up. People might look for an opportunity.
Definitely. We do have a tiny bit of a wait list right now. You do have to attend an orientation to volunteer with us, just so you understand all the rules and safety precautions.
Sure.
But we're always accepting dog walkers, cat kennel cleaners, pretty much anything you could think of. Doing dishes, doing laundry. We're always accepting volunteers for anything at the shelter. It's really
very rewarding too.
So rewarding. You get to hang out with all these little guys and you get to help everybody.
And you're getting them ready for new homes, really. Help them socialize.
Definitely.
And all that kind of stuff.
It's a really fun opportunity. We have larger groups that come in sometimes and even help us with yard work. So if you have any special task, chances are we could use your help.
Check out with the Bangor Humane Society, or maybe check with a shelter in your area. Chances are they need the same kind of help there, too.
Sure.
So, well, Gabby, thanks for coming in. Thanks for bringing the little kitties.
Of course.
I'm in love, as always. We're going to send things back over to Devin now for a final look at that forecast. Good job, kitty.
Alrighty, Craig, thank you very much. Your full weather forecast brought to you by Quality Automotive and Brewer. Experience the Quality Automotive difference. Reliable service and expert care that you can depend on. Call us to schedule your next appointment. 922-2043. Alrighty, here we go. There's that small craft advisory right there. And that will last until about 2 o'clock this afternoon for some active surf along the coast. And with that in mind, let's check out the wave heights, which are at around 3 to 4 feet according to the buoys, while further off towards the north and east you can see that we are still dealing with some active contours at this moment in time, so still a little bit active, while farther out towards sea at around 4 to even 6 feet. So again, hit and miss with regards to the ocean. But meanwhile on land we've had some precipitation passing through from the southwest and going toward the north and east. The rain will back off for a while, hail, but some more clouds and even some scattered rain showers will be possible as we head towards the afternoon period today. Let's zoom things out. This is all courtesy of that slow-moving cold front. It has not been moving very quickly, but as we head towards the afternoon period today, it will start to move away, but scattered rain showers for us with a little surface boundary will begin to develop. So here we go. This main cold front moving away, some scattered rain showers possible behind it. Then we clear things out of here overnight with a mostly clear sky. Some clouds trying to get in here as we head towards your Friday, and notice some scattered showers and even some thunderstorms possible through parts of Friday before we clear things out of here as we head towards Friday night. So with regards to the precipitation accumulations, I'm going to run this through at least parts of Saturday evening. Not a whole lot by that point. Then I'll run it just a little bit farther. So really between now and as we head towards your Tuesday, not a whole lot, maybe 1/4 of an inch of rainfall. The highest will be along parts of Washington County, and really that's about all. So for today, here we go. Low 60s, partly cloudy, some additional rain showers. Northwest wind at about 5 to 10 miles per hour. By tonight, mostly clear, lows in the mid-30s. Northwest wind at about 5 to 10 miles per hour. And then for tomorrow, scattered showers and yes, even some thunderstorms possible with highs in the upper 50s. West wind at about 5 to 10 miles per hour. And let's check out your extended forecast. Some afternoon rain showers possible Saturday. Otherwise, mostly cloudy with highs in the low 60s. Some more low 60s for Mother's Day with some rain showers. And then rain showers continue Monday with highs in the upper 50s.
We can go into a room and have absolutely nothing in there, nothing on the windows, no color, no character, no tone to a room.
That's, I think, where we're strongest, is being able to help someone envision what's going to go in that window.
And we leave, it's totally transformed into something that the customer wants it to be. We've often been told we make a room look better just by leaving it.
Meet the toughest team in the game, Bad Boy Mowers and Bad Boy Tractors. These powerhouses will do whatever it takes to win, putting in the work with unrivaled engineering, game-changing features like heated seats and an Alpine entertainment system, plus durable implements and style that's in a league of its own. Bad Boy Mowers and Tractors. Power, performance, attitude.
Lights, camera, cheese! The Cheese House is looking for its next star, and it could be you. If you're 21 or older, enter for your chance to appear in the next commercial. Stop by the Cheese House at 5 Pike Drive in Fairfield to enter. While you're there, browse their huge selection of glassware and 420 specialty foods. But we have the cheese! Remember, entries are happening in person at the Cheese House, 5 Pike Drive in Fairfield. Bring your personality, bring your smile, and we have the cheese.
You know Matt pretty well. Did he give you any advice?
He said that I should use 26 words or more.
Where every word counts.
Trash panda.
Raccoon.
Yeah. You had me a trash panda. That was gangster.
It pays to choose wisely.
Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
You just won it!
25 words or less every weekday.
Weekdays at 9 on Fox 22.
A 98-year-old Korean War veteran who's in hospice care is being honored. John Schaefer served in the Army during the Korean War. Schaefer was injured and awarded a Purple Heart. Schaefer, Redding from California, and is cared for by Bristol Hospice. On Tuesday, he was recognized by the We Honor Veterans program. The mission of the program is to help hospice and home care workers best serve veterans. He received some special recognition this week. How nice is that? Well, a historical collection is on display at the Library Company of Philadelphia. Before it's auctioned off at Sotheby's on June 24th, it's a chance for rare viewings of about 40 items on display there, and what experts are calling one of the best Benjamin Franklin collections. It includes an address panel with the Founding Father's signature, along with an uncashed government paycheck as well.
The Snyder collection is probably the greatest collection of Benjamin Franklin to be put together in the last century and a quarter, and maybe the last truly great collection that can be gathered. It encompasses books that Franklin printed, books that Franklin wrote, books that Franklin gave to friends and associates, books that he received, letters that he wrote to friends in America and in Europe, because he spent a lot of time on both sides of the Atlantic. And really, it gives a complete view of the man who gave us everything from Poor Richard's Almanac to the Declaration of Independence.
The collection is expected to be sold for up to $3 million when it goes on the block. What an interesting collection. Well, that will do it for this hour, folks. We thank you so much for joining us. I'll be back here at the anchor desk for ABC 7 News at noon today. We'll hope you tune in for that. But if you're heading out for the day, we do thank you for being there and hope you have a wonderful day.
Today on 25 Words or Less, he starred in The Comeback, something everyone on this show wishes he would stop doing. It's Dan Bukatinsky. And joining Dan